Since Sigma BF came out, I saw a lot of online reviews of the camera. A lot of people either talked about it hypothetically or got to play with it during the event that Sigma organized in Japan. And feedback overall was probably pretty well founded and relevant, but not based on a lot of use experience. I got this camera during my trip in Japan in one of the famous camera stores in Tokyo, Map Camera. I've used it for my travel, I've used it for nature photography, and I wanted to share my initial impressions. So first of all, there is no way to get around it. If you're looking for a camera for serious photography, regardless what the use case is going to be, if your overarching concern is producing the best image, there is no reason why this would be the camera to look at. That definitely has limitations, and the only reason why this camera is interesting to somebody is because of the style. Obviously, it's really cool, stylish camera. The body made out of a single block of aluminum, very minimalist design in the back. And this came with a lot of limitations in terms of controls, in terms of features. But if design and how camera looks matters to you, then this may be of interest. For me personally, I've been doing photography for over 20 years, fairly seriously, went through 80 different large sensor format cameras. And today, all of the cameras are very capable, starting with Micro Four Thirds all the way to medium format. Cameras are amazing, and honestly, any of them would do the job for my casual photography. So I'm interested in a little bit more unusual cameras that themselves I find interesting to use, and this is why I looked at this camera. So initially, I thought about this as Leica T or follow-up Leica TL. I used Leica T when it came out, and it was marketed as kind of the next generation of cameras. If for somebody more classically minded, they would go for M-line. T was supposed to be the iPhone generation camera. And I found experience lacking, even though they compared it to iPhone because of the touch screen. Touchscreen did not work nearly as well as iPhone even back then when it came out. Lack of controls was really crippling. After using Sigma, I actually changed my mind because the control in the back is a little bit more usable than I experienced with Leica, and definitely screen is much more sensitive and much more in line with what I would expect from modern products. So overall, it made camera a little bit more useful. Now, controls are very unusual, and in many cases I'm wondering myself if there is an option for some capability or I just missed it, because there is no usual menu that you can scroll through and learn about all of the settings. Now, having gone through a bunch of cameras, usually it doesn't take a lot for me to pick up a camera and figure out how to use controls. With Sigma, I'm still unsure, and I did not study manual. I prefer to just poke around. I'm still unsure if there are some options that I may have missed, or I've discovered everything that it does. Either way, it's pretty clear that camera is limited, doesn't have a typical number of options and advanced features that modern camera would have. It's your basic photographic camera. Its video exists, could be used in a pinch, but obviously nobody would market it as a serious video camera. Sensor is a modern sensor, so you're able to take amazing pictures if you're willing to put in the effort to properly walk the settings. One of the things that I wish camera had is in-body stabilization. I do not think there is a great reason not to have it in a modern camera. And even if body had to be made a little bit larger to accommodate it, I think it's a trade-off that I definitely would be willing to make. One thing that's interesting to me is this camera has LCD but not EVF. And many people also remark that LCD, even on brightest settings, makes it a little bit harder to focus on bright light, and I can attest to that. I personally didn't have horrible time focusing in very bright light during my hiking trips, but this was landscape photography, and for landscape photography you typically use wider lenses and you shoot at small aperture like f16, f11. And it's much easier to get critical focus. If I had the telephoto lens and I was trying to shoot at 1.4, probably would be extremely challenging to get critical focus, even though I have to say it's kind of very easy to zoom in on a specific place by just clicking on a area if camera is in manual focus mode. But I am curious if actually instead of having LCD, you could just have an EVF. I would definitely take this trade-off because EVF could be used for reviewing images as well, but makes it much, much easier to compose. Now, Sigma released it with the stylized lenses, specifically for BF. The lenses come with manual aperture ring. Unfortunately, it's not as useful as I was hoping to. Given that it has automatic setting and then manual setting, I thought I could just leave camera on automatic or on manual and completely use the dial. But either automatic gets overeaten by your manual setting, or if it's an auto mode, then actual aperture you set the camera on gets overeaten. So overall, not super optimal. Another concern that people had is that to make camera look good, you have to bind the whole set of Sigma BF lenses that go with your camera. And I don't think it's quite true. I like using all of my cameras with M manual mount lenses. And that I already have a lot of lenses that I use with Leica body and other cameras, so I do not need to bind a whole new set of lenses just for this camera. I was looking for an adapter that would be silver, not black, and would match the look of this camera. For a while, the only adapter I saw is the Leica one for $500, which in my mind is a little bit steep for just piece of metal that does coupling. And then I found this Light Labs adapter. Hopefully it focuses on it, and it's much cheaper. It's a Chinese company, but feels pretty high quality. And the most interesting thing is that it has this close focus adapter. One of the weaknesses of rangefinder lenses is because rangefinder mechanically does not allow you to focus very close to your subject. Most rangefinder lenses are not designed for close focusing. So this adapter allows you to focus significantly closer, which overcomes limitations of lenses themselves. Obviously, focusing up close is no issue since this is not a rangefinder. You're focusing using LCD, using the same sensor. So here I'm using it with Typoc limited edition lens, which is white, so it's not silverish, but I think it's really, really beautiful lens. And I like how they look, even though they don't match completely. If you want silver lenses, there is a bunch of lenses by Leica. This lens by Voigtlander that I also use looks great with this camera. So you don't really need to compromise the look. And to be honest, look is the only reason why somebody would be interested in using this camera, if they're looking for inspiration from the camera itself. And it feels super premium, very, very beautiful, very well made, solid metal. The factory allegedly can only produce 9 of those per day because they CNC'd out of solid block of aluminum, and it feels this way. Now, other limitations, people described how it's difficult to handle. I did not find it horribly difficult to handle, but I do appreciate firmer grip. And in fact, this is pretty common. Most of my cameras, I have aftermarket grips on them. So I found this one that matches pretty well the style of the camera. It's not super expensive. Also have Arca Swiss mount that's built in, so I can put it on my tripod, which I do sometimes for landscapes. It also allows me to overcome another limitation. So camera comes with only one mount for wrist strap, and I do not like carrying cameras by wrist strap, and even 3-point sling I don't like because camera keeps twisting, and if I'm on a hike, etc., I would like it to hang in one position and not bother me. So this grip gives me a second mounting point, so together with the strap gives you more of a typical way of carrying camera, being sideways, but still it doesn't flop, doesn't move around. So overall pretty convenient. Overcame those limitations that other people complain about for me. So in terms of battery life, everybody had the same comment, myself including. Battery life is not great. I have 2 batteries. Given my style of photography, which is a little bit more deliberate, takes a little bit of time, I don't go through thousands of images per day. So 2 batteries is enough. 1 battery may or may not be sufficient. If you seriously walking around and looking for many pictures to take, definitely gonna run out of battery. It burns pretty quickly. Another concern is related to the fact that there is no removable media for storage. It has built-in memory for storing images. I'm not super concerned about it. Memory doesn't fail as often as it used to, and other cameras, including Leica M, now has internal body storage. If this camera was meant for professional use, for event photography, yes, you have to go through many cards and you need backups, etc. This is not that kind of camera. If you want to shoot wedding, I would not advise doing it using this camera. You may want to have something that's a little bit faster to operate, but also has redundancy with respect to image storage. So overall, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy the camera. It's not the only camera I have. I have multiple other cameras, but surprisingly, I find reaching for this camera more than my medium format Fuji, which is again another amazing camera. Leica M, which I have, but honestly, I'm using it less and less now that there are a few other options that I find more aesthetically pleasing and more interesting. I'm actually thinking of switching to EV1, Leica electronic viewfinder camera. I find it more versatile and probably fits my style a little bit better than the optical rangefinder. And again, if you like the look, I would give this camera a shot. Make sure that you appreciate the fact that it comes with limitations. And again, if you're looking for ultimate image taking machine, there is no way this camera would be at the top. That said, it's a modern sensor, fully capable of taking very amazing images. So from image quality standpoint, it shouldn't leave you wanting.